Yeah, but you have to send it as a virtual camera for
really
as an output for Video Ninja.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, welcome.
Okay.
Welcome to
Amazingly
Automation, Bargos.
Hello, yeah. I mean, I thought there was a way to just kind of put a static image on the background and then put a frame around.
Well, there is, except if people leave or if there's like a connection issue or anything like that, it fucks everything up. Whereas if we do it entirely through Video Ninja, it doesn't fuck up because it auto adjusts.
Yeah. So my response to that, Mac, is when aren't I here? That's perfectly fine, right?
Yeah, exactly. When are you not here, except for when you aren't here or you jump in and jump out
all the time?
All the time. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
All right, here we are, May 18th, 2024, at 1:03 p.m. Exactly 3 minutes.
Oh
late.
shit! We are actually.
That's the way we roll.
Look.
Oh fuck yeah! I'll just let you guys talk.
Actually,
Oh, by the way, I have to clicky. There we go. It'll show up sometime soon here eventually.
Seema, what the fuck have you done?
It is my 100-month subscription anniversary. I can't believe I've sent that much money to fucking IAN.
It's the thing. This is the issue when we don't know whether we're actually live, and Eric is just streaming us bitching about things to the internet.
He did say that he started the pre-show.
Well,
the countdown was going, baby. Going, baby.
The timer just runs like.
Okay, well, fair enough. I was uninformed, but then again, it
was more fun.
I am in the moderated sort of view of the Imperium News channel, but it says stream live, but it doesn't actually have the stream up. So, whatever. Anyway, hang on, I need to unfuck my camera. But yes, welcome everybody to another episode of Push to Talk. Apparently, this is the bad Gyro edition. I don't know, Eric. Have you had a? It says GYRO, so that's Gyro.
That's how you spell
Gyro. That is a mechanical device for helping leveling things.
Gyro.
Are you talking about Gyro? Are you talking about Gyros?
Gyros.
Oh yeah, that's an S. That has an S at the end of it.
Gyro is a plural. The gyro is a single sandwich. A bad gyro edition. By the way, so this is all Dirk's fault because Dirk ordered a steak gyro. Fucking steak gyro. It's made with fucking lamb meat, spiced lamb meat. Come on, get with the fucking program. And it doesn't have pickled vegetables. That's right. It's a taco.
It's a taco, but it's not a taco.
By the way, I hate cucumbers, but tzatziki sauce I really like. I don't know why. Can't stand cucumbers. Love pickles.
You mean tzatziki?
That too, apparently.
Everyone do it. It's not a kebab made out of pork meat. It's lamb. Oh God. All right. By the way, I had to go check and see. I used to, back a long time ago when I used to work downtown. I used to take my team out to lunch, and we would go to our favorite.
I do want to point out that gyros is technically just the meat. Whether you eat the meat by itself or you put it in a pita bread, doesn't really matter in that case. The name is just the meat. It is being used as a name for the dish. For the dish in America and the UK, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. You know what this reminds me of? There has been an argument on the dreaded platform of Twitter all week of what do you call a burger? Because I never realized American burgers are different to what we call burgers.
Oh, really? Well, let's delve into that in our first 20 minutes.
Right. America has a fucking ton of different burgers. Like burgers is almost essentially just like ground beef in some way, shape, or form. Ground beef of some form. Like
that's the argument,
Mac. And put between two bits of bread of some form.
Right, that's the argument, Mac. in the UK,
Yeah, because you can have a
Australia, and a
chicken
bunch of other
burger, you can have a
countries,
turkey
it can
burger,
be chicken.
you can have I know you can have a chicken burger, turkey burger, whatever the fuck.
But the Americans were
just ground meat
that
of
it
some
has
form.
to be ground beef.
No, it doesn't.
Well, it doesn't have to be, I guess. Like it's just basically sort of some kind of cooked ground meat,
right?
Or some kind of thing. But then again, you can also have like non-ground like
chicken burgers. Yeah,
like fucking KFC does it, whatever.
Yeah,
we have
don't
chicken burgers,
I'm just here
turkey burgers. We have chicken burgers, turkey burgers. It's just ground up meat.
Yeah,
right. And I agree with that. I'm
just halloumi burgers, for fuck's sake.
Someone just said burgers developed out of hamburger steak in a bun, and that's not actually true. They developed out of a dish here in Germany that is called Rundstück warm, which is just a piece of bread. Then you have a slice of meat, and then you put some brown sauce on top of it.
I'd like to congratulate Seema on the dad joke that he put in chat. That KFC is the most foul fast food ever.
And
get it? Foul.
Like the Asians are gonna hate you, man. I mean, that's
no,
like
foul as in bird.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
Also, yes,
I was like, whoa. By the way, at KFC, you can get 2 boneless, chicken breasts, deep fried, and all that stuff, and they're considered the bread of the sandwich.
It's fucked up.
It's amazing.
That's what it is.
I know.
It's so American. It's the most American thing because it also I think it includes
because it's Southern fried chicken. Southern meaning
the but because it also because as far as I recall, it also includes bacon and cheese. So as we've always said in this show, in this channel, they're take something, add bacon and cheese to it. That's like Americanizing something, and so that's like the most American thing ever.
The most American thing ever. Okay.
So I'm going to ask, going back to the original thing quick, is this possibly a regional American thing, Eric? Because a bunch of the Americans that were there were adamant that it was, if it's a chicken burger in rolls, it's actually just a chicken sandwich.
No, chicken sandwich would be fried. So chicken sandwich would be the chicken would not be ground up. Could be grilled, could be deep fried, could be whatever, but on a bun, on bread, whatever. Chicken sandwich.
Okay,
but you grind it up.
It's like
form it into a patty.
What constitutes
it's a burger.
Sandwich?
Ground up meat formed into a patty. It's not ground up. It's a sandwich.
Let me post something. Because Mac, you'll know what I'm on about when I say McCrispy.
If I put pulled pork on a burger bun, it's a sandwich.
It's a pulled pork sandwich.
Yeah, but that's so Bogus. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But that's that. I think that's just McDonald's trying to be slightly different and slightly edgy when it comes to sort of marketing.
No, because even when I go to little pubs and stuff, Mac, it's down as the same kind of style thing. Is down as a chicken burger.
But you know what they call
it's a solid chicken breast. It's a solid chicken breast that's not ground, that's fried, and
Yes, very fast.
I'll make this even more complicated for you guys here. In Germany, a sandwich is considered something cold.
Okay.
It's right. As far as I'm aware, it's the term is extremely fucking loose.
Yeah.
Right, and that seems to be Yeah.
So if you were reading a menu in the US and you saw something was a X burger, like bison burger, right? Or an elk burger or something like that, you would expect that meat to be ground up and formed into a patty. Okay.
Right. To be fair, it's a sandwich. If I saw anything burger in a high, in a high quality restaurant, I would not purchase it because chances are the burger will be about the burger will be about half a meter high literally impossible to eat in some way, shape, or form, and it will come with a stick in it because it literally can't stand up by itself. And in my opinion, that is the most fucking annoying thing to purchase in a restaurant ever.
Well, I will share your disdain for the thick burger. But again, we have a couple different kinds of burgers, right? So you have you'll get a thick burger, you have like a thinner burger, then you have what we call the smash burger. Do you know what those are?
Yeah. I like smash burgers. They're good.
Yeah, they're a little crispy. They push them out thin on the grill. I mean, they're kind of good too. Sometimes in the U.S., like it's the other stuff on the burger that makes you need that toothpick and piled high, right? Because I mean, so we have a chain around here called Burger. It's like BRGR or something like that. Okay. And a couple of them, and
just nonsense.
They just have the craziest combinations of burgers. I mean, it's nuts. All the different things that you throw on a freaking burger. If you got like a chicken sandwich or something like that, you're not gonna expect to be. You're gonna expect like a boneless chicken breast.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say breast? I don't know.
We are allowed to say breast. I
gotta check every once in a while.
I don't think that's in the ban list. I don't think Live Shift is going to freak out because we said breast on stream.
Probably
especially chicken breast. Like, what else are you going to call it? Chicken chest? That's just making it worse.
That just makes it so much worse.
And John was just said what I was thinking and didn't say.
Yeah. Say.
By the way, burger.
And we're away to the races.
But here's the one to go to. Burgatory.
We had I think we still have a restaurant in the UK that like was sort of a go-to place for a little while back when I was like younger, but it was called GBK or Gourmet Burger Kitchen.
Well, Burgatory really fits
that's pretty good,
your love for burgers because the burgers are way too high with all the stuff they put on them, and of course they put a little red pitchfork in them instead of a.
Also, since we're talking about food, I just found a mistake on Wikipedia.
My God!
Oh my God! I mean, Jesus! That never's happened before.
It says gyros is made in a similar manner to other dishes, for example, shawarma, and the Turkish doner kebab. I'm sorry, but that's German.
It's Turkish.
No, it's German.
No, it's
It was invented by
and was it invented by Turkish people in Germany?
No, it was invented by an immigrant in Germany. But
from
at that point, but he was originally from Turkey, but he immigrated to Germany, and that makes him German. That's how immigration works.
So it's about as Turkish as tikka masala is Indian.
I was about to go to that one, Matt. Yes. Half of the curries
exactly
are actually British.
Look, I've actually seen interviews with him because the guy's still alive. Yeah, he's still running a donut shop.
Nice.
Hold it. He does a donut shop. Let me blow
or as the UK say doner kebabs.
Let me blow your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's a restaurant in New York where they serve the burgers on donuts.
Ooh. All right.
Slice the donut in half. Boom.
Okay.
I
need to make something clear. I am not talking about the kebab being from Germany. I am talking about specifically the doner kebab being from Germany. Okay. I know that the kebab being like the
it's
the
meat on a spit, it's not
on a spear, right? that is from Turkey. Okay, I am aware of that, but putting that in a pita bread, that is someone in Germany came up with that.
This may have started off
human historical. That predates just human history, really. Is meat on a spear over a fire. It's not hard, but the way you compress it and you flavor it, that is specifically a thing.
Indeed.
And hello, everybody. I see that we have named the show today after Eric's issue with the
How do you pronounce that? What's it called?
It's Heroes or Hero.
Gyro?
Heroes?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a rolling sound at the start of it that's a little bit awkward if you're not, used to speaking.
Yeah. Well,
in those sort of languages. But
if I count the number of bosses I've had in the last 8 years, or last 5 years, it's 8.
Call it Gyro.
But previous to those 8, my boss was straight out of Greece.
What do you call?
And one of the 8 was Greece
in a
too.
Hero role.
A hero is different.
A hero and a hero.
A hero is a type of hoagie, but don't get me started on hoagies and grinders and all that shit.
So what do you call what Dirk had in one of those roles?
See,
a steak sandwich on a pita. Okay,
Chad is actually Chad is saying Americans discussing how to pronounce Greek. That is exactly why I'm giving Erik so much shit over all of this right now.
It's worth noting that Erik is the only American in the channel.
Till Horrendous gets here and kicks all your asses, but that's okay.
like Horrendous, where are you?
Yes, but
fucking hell.
You are also not Greek.
I'm not Greek. I know I'm not Greek, but I'm aware that there's a sound at the
I don't think Dirk could be further away from being not Greek.
Jesus.
How do you like your sea urchin? How's that, huh? How do you like that sea urchin? That's a wonderful Greek delicacy.
I don't like diving for sea urchins around here. It's a bit cold.
You just pick them up. Right on the beach in Greece.
Yeah, in Greece, maybe not over here though. Jesus Christ,
here.
You don't want to go near the fucking water.
You definitely don't want to. You definitely don't want to accidentally drink the water around here in the minute.
Really,
you might end up with you might end up with a small infestation of cryptosporidium.
It's apparently fine now, Dirk.
Is that a new virus? Cryptosporidium?
Is that no?
It's a very old virus.
It's not. So it's not a Web3 product.
No, Cryptosporidium is Cryptosporidium is basically a product of the last ice age.
No, that is the new cryptocurrency.
What you're saying is crypto boys have been around for a long fucking time.
Yeah. And for the at the risk of delving into UK politics a little bit, the UK is a safe country. However, some of you may need to boil your water for 22 minutes before you drink it.
Where the fuck are you from? Freaking Flint, Michigan? I mean, Jesus Christ.
This is down my way, Erik. It has literally taken out the entirety of Devon.
But there's only been what, like a half a dozen or a dozen cases, and only about 100 people complaining about it. Apparently,
only a dozen people complaining, and only 100 people or so infected, right? But they were literally going in the UK. Here is a semi truck filled with bottled water to hand out in the UK. And I'm sorry, Twitch chat, if I'm a little bit spicy today already.
Slightly agitated.
I've been on a soapbox for a number of things since last night, as McLeod can attest to, and so is not.
I thought you were just warming up. I thought you were just working through your material.
Yeah.
No, I've been on a spicy feeling since Thursday night. Thursday night I went to see a play.
That's what did it.
It was a National Theatre Live production. For those who don't know, the National Theatre Live in the UK basically takes some of the best theatre performances, actual theatre on-stage performances in the UK, and they film them, and they broadcast them live to cinemas, and then they also do encore performances, because it's recorded, so, more people can see them. And I went to see a showing. It was an encore showing. It wasn't live, but it was a National Theatre Live production. That's the company that runs it. It was a National Theatre Live production of a play called Nye. Now, Nye was specifically written. It's a brand new play. It's a brand new play designed and written to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the founding of the NHS, the National Health Service here in the UK.
Only in the UK would you write a fucking play about that. But okay, go ahead.
It's a level of history, because this is the first time any sort of public healthcare system was free to people at the point of need in the world. It was actually landmark in human history. But so this play was about a Nurin Bevan, Nye, the character, the person, the politician, who started out as a miner in North Wales, was in the mines for 8 years, was made unemployed.
Because if he didn't have black lung, he wasn't in the mines.
He died of black lung.
All right.
That was it. He died in an NHS hospital that he built the program for of black lung. But it started out. This guy this guy from North Wales who'd been down the mines, had basically no education, managed to progress to Minister of Health in the UK immediately after World War II, under possibly the most socialist government Britain has ever seen, and built a health service that was free at the point of service for everybody in need. And it was Commander Starscream. It was Michael Sheen playing the lead.
This is Michael
Welsh
Sheen.
Man, really incredible actor.
As far as I know,
a Welsh politician who came up from nothing. And Michael Sheen kind of mirrors that in his own career.
Yeah. By the way, not associated, not related to Martin Sheen or Charlie Sheen.
Yeah. If it didn't have a young Sarah Brightman in it, I'm not watching it.
But it was an absolutely incredible piece of theatre, and unfortunately, it also had so many moments of okay, why would we not have a healthcare system that looks after women and children? Why would we not have a healthcare system that looks after the elderly? Why would we not have a healthcare system that looks after people who are out of work? And I'm sorry to get into the politics of it, but it was so poignant in terms of how the UK looks today is very much the same sort of mess that Nurin Bevan was trying to fix with the NHS. And I've been spicy ever since, and I'll get into the spiciness of the Eve stuff in a bit. But if you have the opportunity, I will say, if you have the opportunity to watch Nye, NYE, as a piece of theatre on a screen anywhere, it might be a local theatre, it might be online. If you have an opportunity to watch it, especially if you're British, but even if you're not British, give it a watch. It's such a poignant piece of theatre. Theatre is so fantastic, and sometimes they make stories that are human and real and actually happened. I'm not looking at Shakespeare too much, but basically very little of Shakespeare's theatre actually happened.
Yeah.
But
does it come with a HIPAA advisory?
Because it's not because it's not the US.
It doesn't come with a HIPAA advisory. Oh man, how's the PII data in it? Is it any good?
But it's not a play about healthcare. It's a play about the people who made
told us
healthcare
it was a play about the healthcare system.
It's a play about the person who made it a thing.
Okay.
And his story, being paid in classrooms and down the lines and how you learn to deal with issues. And
I guarantee the movie about how they created McDonald's is way better. I'm just telling you.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was
great. It may strike a chord more with you than with us because McDonald's is more of an American tradition than the NHS.
Was Batman in that play? Was Batman in that play? He's in that movie. We got Batman.
It will not be. It will like. Right, so there's a level of when it comes to plays, when it comes to theater, when it comes to films and all the TV shows, right? Like there's a level of you can have the best script in the world, but if you have bad actors,
are you saying Batman is a bad actor?
Well. I'm not. Which Batman?
The Batman. Who else?
What?
Michael Keaton, motherfucker.
You can also have fantastic actors and a fairly middling script and have a good event. However, if you have a fantastic script and a fantastic cast, it comes together to be something incomparable. It really does.
I'm just saying, in response to Bargos, your little McCrispy was the McChicken in the U.S. and it was $1.
Right.
Just saying. Okay. Clooney. Fuck no. Yes. Clooney sucked. Okay. Michael Keaton.
Just about to tell me that I'm already too spicy and I need to calm it down a bit.
No. I'm about to tell you that you're wrong. The UK was not the first country with universal healthcare.
Free at the point of service for everyone.
Yeah. So not free at point of service for everyone. That goes to Norway.
I could not get healthcare in the UK. Cuba?
In which year?
Cuba.
1912.
I'm gonna go down to Cuba and get my 1952 Chrysler.
What I have to give you is that the United Kingdom was actually the country who made it a big thing, and which is why a lot of countries followed in its footsteps.
Yeah, I'll live with that.
All right.
Veritas in Twitch chat saying define free.
I mean,
the idea is also if you need care immediately, you don't pay for it.
Yeah, there's also a case to be made for Germany with the sickness insurance law from 1883. But you have to be insured for that, which was universal for anyone employed, no matter how much money you made.
It was universal for the employed. It wasn't necessarily universal for the kids, for the elderly, for the people who didn't have jobs.
No, the kids, the kids and the elderly were covered as well, I believe. But yeah, the unemployed were not covered.
And anyway, I am sorry for getting into the politics of it, but this is
kind of
like where I've been in my mindset for the last 2 days, because I went to this incredible play and I got very, very angry at the fact that the UK is facing many of the same problems that it was facing immediately after World War II, but the current government doesn't give a shit. And so, when can we overthrow the current government? Give us a fucking election, please.
Hey, I don't fucking care. I got a robot lawnmower, motherfucker, and I don't care.
And I will translate that spiciness into Eve talking about. Eric, tell us about the fact that you were out mapping your lawn for your robot lawnmower.
I did. I drove my little robot lawnmower around my lawn.
Oh, you were actually mapping it. I thought you misspelled mopping. Like, I was like,
What Eric just said is that he has a robot lawnmower. He got on it and drove it around his lawn.
Well,
because the robot lawnmower can't figure out where his lawn is.
No, because
they're all like that.
It's one of the new ones that goes off GPS, right? So you set the borders of your lawn, right? So it does that.
You drive it to the edges, don't you?
You can't just give it, latitude and longitude and say, hey,
none of them work like that. You would think that they could do that, but they don't actually function like that. So
your boundaries are like this place to this place to this place to this place. and do everything inside of this area. Yeah. But no, the lawnmower can't do that. It has to be driven before it can automatically do the thing.
So yeah, my understanding is that has to know the borders. It has to understand the borders of your property, right? So technically, you could sit there. Yeah, I mean, it just has. You know, a lot of robot lawnmowers, you have to put a electric line down, right? And you don't have to do that with this,
unless they are GPS controlled.
Right, with RTK technology, right? So it's not pure GPS; it's RTK plus GPS.
Yeah.
And Husqvarna has its own flavor called EPUS, but yeah, I got the Memotion Luba. It's pretty cool. Looks like a Formula One race car.
Nice.
So, but yeah, it thunderstormed all last night, so I don't want to cut the grass. I did test it. Works really well.
Yeah, it's much more preferable for the grass to be dry rather than sort of slightly damp. Otherwise, it gets all like.
But I did drive it around, right? I drove it around. It's a little muddy in some spots. I mean, we had a lot of rain last night, and our soil is saturated because early this month and most of last month, I mean, we had more rain than we've ever had in this area. So really needs weeks to really get out of it. But yeah. So unless you're getting directions into so this basically, it uses RTK technology, which is there's GPS satellites into an RTK antenna, which is local. The Crest system, which is used a lot in the UK, has slightly different ones than that. It also gets it from the 4G network, and it also gets it from its own satellites, and it kind of does some math, so it's accurate within 1 to 2 centimeters.
Yeah,
where you do it. So I mapped out around the lawn, and then I took 2 trees out of my front lawn, so I have grass growing there. So I had to circle those and say, don't cut these areas yet. But yeah, and it drives in straight lines, diagonals, checkerboards, diamonds, whatever the hell you want to make with your lines. So it's kind of cool. It works pretty well. I mean, I did some test area.
I would like it in a snakes and ladders sort of look.
Well, just get one where it you can actually set the angle on the diagonals.
Okay.
But the what is it? It will print your lawn. I think that feature's rolling out at the end of this month or something. So basically, yes, smiley faces. Absolutely. It has all kinds of things. Letters. You
wait. Much like being able to print like somebody's face on somebody's coffee. Like you'll be able to print like your face onto like your lawn in some way, shape, or form.
We'll see, right? But the it uses, because it's electronic height adjustable. Right, so it cuts the grass at different levels and then makes the picture.
Oh, can you? I mean, can you freeform exactly what you want on it? So can you actually like cut in?
They haven't
like get fucked like in your lawn.
Well, you say have to keep in mind that like how that works, right?
Yeah, height of the grass.
Yeah.
Is it height of the grass? Is it not?
It's direction. That's how it's going to work. It's height of the grass. It's height of the grass for the words. So over time it gets more refined, but that's supposed to be, I think, released into the firmware and software, I think, end of this month. So they have things that they are adding into the software over time. So like right now it works with Alexa. Sometime next month it'll work with Google Home, that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, you can actually see us when it. Let's see, anything on here that is.
Be cool if they could.
I'll share with you guys, some of the things, but you can. It didn't exactly center on my property for the picture, so I have to look at that. But
we are such fucking nerds. Just the point.
We are super nerds, yes. I would like to. I'd like to.
We've spent the past 5 minutes, 7, 8 minutes, even, very engaged in a conversation about remote control lawnmowers.
I'm fairly certain that you've made this. I'm fairly certain this hasn't been the first time as well. We haven't, and you've made a particular comment related to this before.
No, it's a fair point, but it is worth noting that like this is the nerdiest fucking show that is going in the EVE community.
I think Doug wants to shut up about lawnmowers and get started on
EVE. Let's get on
angry about CCP.
Well, actually, what I was going to say is, the rest of the shows they might talk about spaceships in real life. We don't talk about spaceships in real life. We talk about food and we talk about remote control lawnmowers.
We talk about a lot of stuff.
We do talk about a lot of stuff.
We can go anywhere. We talk about fucking Gyros and all kinds of good shit.
Yeah, our tangents are fairly epic, to be completely honest. But before we move on to some random different tangent,
online talk show.
Yeah, before we start going down a different random tangent, I just want to say thank you very much to Stoic for the Prime sub.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I also saw the was it you who also Prime subbed as well? The start of the show. Cheers.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, I do think it is a first that we talked about the British healthcare system in plays. I mean, that is a first for our show. That's
probably true.
Utility 101 called that out. I mean, that's a big deal.
Topics. We talk about.
We have talked about plays. We've talked about the healthcare system before. We have not talked about them in one.
Might I suggest that we invite Futility to what server?
Sure, go ahead. I don't care.
Yeah.
Hey, Futility.
It's interesting that we finally found.
If you have him on Discord, we'll get him sorted.
Hey, Futility. Add me as a friend on Discord.
There you go.
Are we just recruiting from the viewers now?
Yes.
No.
We're recruiting
it's Futility. Come on. It's my favorite saber pilot.
We're not just
I don't know who that
from the viewers now. We are recruiting people that we know who are also viewers and have been viewers for a long time.
Okay.
We're getting in touch with people. All right.
Like Commander Starscream. I don't know his specific EVE name, but he's another one who's been around forever, and we know who he is, and it'd be okay.
What Dirk's too afraid to say is we've lost some people who normally come on to real life, and we need to replace them.
No, whoa! That's not anything at all. We are fairly standard about that in terms of the numbers.
No, I'm taking the piss. It's fine.
However, I am gonna use that comment about losing people as a little bit of a springboard for a somber moment here. As we transition into the EVE stuff, I do want to say, this week here at INN, we lost an ex-editor who died to complications with his surgery. He was with us from 2017 through 2020, 2021. He'd worked at INN. He'd worked at EN24. He did some stuff at TIS after he left INN. He was a Bastion diplomat, and also when he came to Goonswarm, he joined the Black Hand, did GSOL stuff. Patrick Miller was how I knew him, but his main was Patrick Gattero, and he was a stand-up gentleman. And it was an incredible shock having learned earlier this week that he had passed away. It's one of those things that we really, as EVE players, we have a hell of a lot of social connections, but also at the same time, some of these connections are just online. And Patrick was one of those that I hadn't managed to make a physical meetup happen with him. I kind of wish I had been able to do that, but the facts of life. And when you compare it to other games, our friends in this game, our online connections, they are so important. It's what's kept us all going for, 10, 15, 20 years at this point. And it's... I see these notifications go out. Obviously, you know, people pass away, and that's a natural part of life. But it's been somewhat rare for me that people have really had significant impact on my life and my EVE career in the same way. I think the last one was Blue Melon back in 2022. He passed away, and he was a member of the tournament scene. But when it comes to Padrick I knew through INN. I knew him through Corps Diplomatique, Goonswarm's diplomatic group, and working with the Bastion. I knew him across a lot of years, and it was an incredible shock. So I just kind of want to note that, hey, Padrick will be missed for a start, but also just recognize your friends a little bit. You know, like, we do this show every week, and I know all of these guys. I love all of these guys. But it's worth recognizing that, hey, your friends are special and worthwhile in terms of just everyday recognition. You know, I fight with Sothrisol all the time, but he's such a great guy to know. And so, yeah, in terms of that bit, value your friends, give them some attention and recognition. Yeah, and also, when they pass away, you know, in the case of, unfortunately, Padrick, it's worth giving them a minute to think and remember them. On that note, INN, we have just published an article with it, which is a bit of a requiem for Padrick.
Yeah, I can link it if you want in chat.
Drop the link for sure. You know, it talks about his EVE career. It also talks about some of the stuff he did in real life. You know, the guy was... Christmas Day, he would go out and cook for 100 people as a small community buffet, was how he described it. 100 people is, you know, a small community buffet. And he did a lot of that sort of stuff. So, yeah. There will also be, in 1DQ later on today, a Sino Vigil for Padrick. Just after the fireside, so about 1920, 1930 Eve. If you knew Padrick at all, if you want to turn up and pay your respects to a member of our community, please do. These are people worth remembering. All of them. And anyway,
they'll be sort of in about an hour and a half,
an hour and a half.
Yeah, an hour and 3/4, somewhere in about that time.
So yeah, sorry for that kind of a little bit downer transition into the EVE segment of the show, but it was something that really needed to be said, because we need
needs to be said.
Remember these people.
Definitely needs to be said, and like, honestly, Dirk, don't apologize for stuff like that. Like, that is, you know, honoring friends, you know, who have passed is, like, you know, a very important thing. Like,
I'm not.
You don't need to apologize for that kind of stuff.
I'm not.
You don't need to apologize for anything.
I'm apologizing
for
the mood shift.
No, dude, it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm sure everybody out there is totally fine with it as well. I just wanted to say, don't worry, futility. You're not like being requested to step into Padrick's shoes. So, you know.
Yeah, but you do need to apologize for that Gyro. That was disgrace.
Oh, fucking! Here we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it is what it is.
No, I think we've all lost many friends playing this game, which is, I mean, it's just true. I mean, but how many? I mean, you get to meet and know so many more people.
Yeah, just right? Honestly, maximize, you know, the time you spend with friends.
Yeah, especially with such a global community that we have as well. You know, Padrick was a guy in the US, and I haven't been out to the US in a lot of years, and something that I'm kind of trying to look to do in the next year or so. And if I do that, I will make sure to, drop by Eric's place for a day and that kind of thing. Drop by Arasan Talari, who's a Carnfleet member, and I've known him for years. If I don't see him at the meet that I go to, I will be dropping by just to say hi and kind of go, hey, look, dude, we've known each other for years. Let's have a beer, have some food, have a good time. And the fact that most of my friends are across the world nowadays, because of things like this game, just broadening horizons.
But it is cool though as well, because if you have to go here, there, or everywhere, for work or whatever, for your professional life, it's crazy how you can just sort of meet people that you're never likely to meet in any other kind of situation. It's great.
There is nobody on this show right now I would have met any other way.
Yeah. Horrendous is not offering tours for anything, I don't think.
No. You're gonna go to Horrendous, and it's like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, man. He's gonna feed you to his fucking cat.
I was gonna say, that's one of the things. If you are going to Horrendous's place, it's a case of you have to survive.
His cat may murder you.
The cat will attempt.
The cat something. Of death.
But,
I'm telling you, it's a movie.
But yeah, I mean, I've known Horrendous pre-Push to Talk. I knew him as a Logi anchor. I knew him as an editor at INN when I started at INN, and then I joined the show here after Eric dragged me in kicking and screaming due to one
what happens when
36-hour shift.
I know.
But,
you blow shit up in space and coordinate it. Fuck, you're in.
Derek, you're going to be on those shifts again soon. We're getting wraps on the fucking Pocos, right?
So we're gonna get there. But I do just want to say, Horrendous is also one of those people who I will make a point to go to him to see if I'm in the US, rather than expecting him to be at some place. I'll go to New York for a day and be like, hey, so where can we grab a beer?
A day. You think you can visit these places in a day? You need a fucking week with me. Okay? You need a week with Horrendous. This is, you guys are from Europe. You get 6 months vacation a year? Just come out.
Those moments where I
wish.
Those moments where I'm gonna end up taking my work laptop and doing a work day and then going places in the evening, kind of thing.
Dude,
that's gonna be the thing. Working remotely for a month in the US.
See, you come visit me. We go to the bar at the club. We work remotely at the bar at the club. They bring us food and drink and anything we want all day long. And, go out, play 9 holes of golf at lunch, whatever the fuck we want to do. You need a week. Maybe hit the pool. Right. Hit the pool bar while we're at the pool.
Right.
I mean,
fucking Eric. All right, you've got me convinced.
There's a lot of drinking.
I will come and see you for at least
then 4
we need
days.
We might compromise for 4 days, but
Hermione sandwiches. We gotta do shit.
Go over there. Enjoy Eric's hospitality.
Scythe will come up. Scythe will fucking come up. Make it a fucking party.
Get fucking so wasted, especially if Scythe's there.
I will point out, Eric, when I say when I'm looking at trips to the US, I'm talking about maybe January, February next year.
I can golf in January, February.
I'd freeze. Have you met? No, you haven't met me, which is half of the issue. I was talking earlier about my relationship with temperature and the way some people approach my relationship with temperature.
Yeah.
It has been described as a warped relationship with temperature because, walking down the street, t-shirt, it's fucking 5 degrees outside.
I love you.
Yeah, it is a bit masochistic.
I love you. How do you fucking do that? The girls can do that shit. I love you.
You
You're awesome.
Did
5
you just
degrees.
Call Dirk a girl?
No, I said the girls can do this heart thing. I'm not as good at it. Like my daughter, like, dude, fucking heart. Oh, she goes like this. She goes like this. See this, Dad? See this, Dad? I don't love you. I don't love you.
What he was suggesting is he doesn't understand how I do it.
I don't understand how my daughter does it.
What's 5 degrees in American units? What's 0 in American units?
32 degrees. 32.
It's 41 degrees. So 41 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. 41, 42, 43, roughly like that. T-shirt, jeans, easy.
Oh yeah, that is shorts and t-shirt golf weather, baby.
As long as the wind isn't cutting through you, that is easy.
But if you come here in January, New York's just the same way. You're gonna be in the 20s regular temperature, maybe. And 20s. With the wind chill, in the U.S. Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah, I mean,
so you're going to be in the
-6, -7.
So 32 is 0, and but with the wind chill, you could be down 0 or below.
Jeans, jacket, maybe some gloves, easy.
Seriously, down below 0 Fahrenheit.
Oh, with wind chill in January, February. Oh yeah,
that feels cold.
Oh, okay, that's a bit. That's a bit far.
That's going to feel fucking cold. Like, thankfully,
I didn't necessarily realize you were talking about.
Don't worry. I got it.
We'll figure it out.
Freedom units. Freedom units, right? But don't worry, we got a winter parka with your name on it. We got enough.
Wait. Are we talking about the same people who are complaining when they are in like anything without an AC?
By the way, -40 can happen, Jado. You're right.
Right. Minus 10 is an issue. 25, 30 degrees is an issue. You sit me at like 10 Celsius, I will eat that shit up all day.
That's warm.
Let's see. We're having 20 degrees right now.
Yeah,
in the shadow.
It's a bit warm at the moment.
20's like 68, 70.
23 actually.
Fahrenheit.
Dirk, I have 3 fireplaces. Okay, don't worry about it. You're cool.
Oh, see, he fucking speaks my language. You know, Yorkshire. All you have is fireplaces to heat the place.
Hey, we have 3 fireplaces. We have an infrared heater, so you can walk out the back door and walk. I mean,
it sounds like it sounds like Eric's offering to put me up at this point.
We got an infrared heater on the back porch in the ceiling. You walk out the back door.
Guest room, Eric. Is that what you're talking about?
Hold it. Infrared heater, and then you get in the 103-degree hot tub. You're good. Outside.
Yeah.
He's definitely offering to put me up at this point.
We are back in, like, Tangent Central, by the way.
Looking
at the clock.
Come on,
we have an hour left.
Yeah, we got to hit the Eve shit.
We have a long rant coming from Dirk. So
I mean, if this show was ever going to be renamed, it would be called Tangent Central.
No, it'd be called Seinfeld because it's about nothing.
Fair enough.
No, we're not that funny. But yeah, I mean.
Does
by the way,
want to talk
we
about
are.
What's gone on this week?
By the way, we do have a hard stop at 3 because Eric has to go to a magic show tonight.
Wait, how long is 3? Just to be quick, is that another hour?
3. It's an hour.
So when you say,
by the way, you guys talk about Eve. You guys talk about Eve. I'm going to go plan my tasks for my robot Ramo for tomorrow.
Right. No, Bart, you have 4 minutes. Go.
I know. That's why I was questioning because I was like, "Is it really just 4 minutes? Are we in like one last things and it's just going to be Derek's rant?"
Whatever the fuck you need to do, Bargos, just go do
it. If Eric expects my one last thing today to go 4 minutes, that's an oversight.
Yeah. Whatever you guys need.
Right now,
whatever you need.
Will definitely not be 4 minutes.
Derek's one last thing is 40 minutes of the last hour.
I'm sorry to tell you, but it's now 3 minutes, so you better start.
Dear Lord.
Oh, God. Go, Bard. Be free with your.
I need a second.
Be free with your thoughts.
Compose himself after his
the world is a sponge, ready to soak up whatever is in your head.
Hold it! I need 3 minutes of karaoke. I got to sing Freebird. You said free. Go ahead.
Oh,
go.
For fuck's sake.
Come on, Barghost. It's all you, baby. Go.
No pressure.
you God damn.
You fucking done him in. He can't even get on the soapbox anymore.
No, I can't.
The worst line to say is no pressure because that's just piles pressure onto you.
He is the worst person to ask to do something if he is fucking giggling while he does it. He can't stop giggling to yell.
No, I can't. I'm really bad at this. I completely lost my words, basically.
What did you want to talk about with Eve this week, Bug? What's got you going this week?
Well, I mean, I've got 2 minutes, and I'm going to preface what you're going to say with everything that Dirk is about to say is an unhinged rant and has no basis in reality. Please ignore it, CCP, and do not ban us.
This is the show that we. This is the show that ends our partnership as Eve partners.
Well, I mean, technically, CCP can't ban you.
If over the years, my rant today kills our 10-year partnership with CCP, that Sothrasil and I have spent significant time building relationships with CCP as well. If I kill it today, that may be my crowning moment in EVE Online.
Also, I now remember how much ranting there was involved with CCPs during Anger Games. I don't think they're gonna ban us over this.
I'm mostly taking a piss. Like,
so, as am I. It's just nice to ham it up a bit, you know?
Yeah, and I'm probably going to weaken a bit of what you say, Derek. I do apologise if I'm about to weaken some of what you're about to say, but I think even with the shit show that you're about to describe, it is probably better than what we were going through in 2019. Because that was a fucking mess. I would rather take actual development that has a forward path than stripping features out of the game and killing off playstyles, driving us to 7,000 active players one evening.
Yeah, the whole scarcity fucking campaign that CCP was on was just the fucking worst.
Yeah. If you guys want to talk about stuff before that's come out this week, before I get on my soapbox, do you potentially actually want to tell people what's come out this week?
No,
that is going to cause me to get on my soapbox.
No. I can if you want. Like I was just there thinking to myself, what else has happened in EVE this week? And I wasn't entirely certain, but I thought maybe you had an inside track as to what Barghost had seen or experienced in some way, shape, or form that I hadn't. But like,
please tell them the news before I get opinionated about the news.
So apparently,
new ships coming.
Yeah, we have some more information on the new ships that are coming out in Equinox, right? And those are basically a T1 subcap hauler, 2 T2 variants of that subcap hauler, and a capital freighter, which Dirk just absolutely loves. He's such a fan. Anyway, Dirk, tell us how much you love that freighter.
Right. So it's not just about the freighter; it's about the precedent. This is a broader piece of commentary.
Yeah, because
about CCP just not having a fucking clue sometimes about standard processes.
I mean, obviously we have to preface this with CCP has said that this is all subject to change, but then again, CCP has previously said when developing things that things aren't set in stone and subject to change, and then when the player base has basically said this is broken, it needs to be fixed, CCP have turned around and gone, well, if it is broken, we'll fix it, but we'll see what we'll see as it is right now when it goes live.
Yeah, right. So
and
I want to.
So yeah.
I want to start at the very beginning of the week, roughly. I want to start at an announcement that CCP made on Monday via the forums, which is that on Tuesday, the 14th, 4 days ago, there would be a Singularity mass test. CCP were going to let people back onto the server to test a feature.
Oh, obviously this is because, very important features, right?
Singularity is the test server. People should not be able to test things. People should not be able to have any understanding of I think how mechanics are supposed to work before they manage to make it to the live production server.
Dirk, I think we need a little bit of context as to why it's. So the context is that we haven't, as players, we haven't been able to use the Singularity test server for testing things, before they come out for a long period of time. For some reason,
18 months at this point. They decided, hey, for whatever reason, this public test server, you can't have it anymore.
Yeah, it's not. It's now not going to be a public test server. Apparently, according to CCP, it was going to be internal. It was going to be an internal testing area environment for CCP to test certain things for. To test certain things and to allow sort of press events in some way, shape, or form, right? Basically for marketing, right?
So
and that was the idea.
EVE partners have had over the last 6-8 months or so had early access to test builds of the production changes to be able to make some content about them and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now I'm okay with press and partners and people who do EVE content getting early access to details so that they can prepare, right? Like an article for INN generally takes at minimum a 12-hour turnaround with the number of people that need to touch it. It's more like generally 36 hours or so.
Yeah.
And so a little bit of pre-warning, great. But CCP basically went, everybody is using the test server to fine-tune the mechanics, fine-tune their response to the mechanics, and fine-tune their understanding of the mechanics before it even hits the live server. And we don't want that. We want people to be experiencing these things in the moment. And they said this around things such as the Triglavian storyline, where they expanded, they killed Niaja, for example, as one of those things that we didn't see coming. Because, hey, actually, you can test it all you want, but people aren't going to kill Niaja on the test server. They will kill Niaja on the production server just for spite. But, that's players doing emergent gameplay. That's not about the mechanics.
But what I would say, with regards to...
CCP want to make sure that we can't figure out the mechanics before day one.
Yeah. There is a shred of understanding in this in regards to, if you're developing a kind of like an interesting storyline, you might want to keep that, like, you
want to keep it under wraps, right? Like, I
keep
can
under wraps.
Absolutely grasp
the
idea that, storyline-wise, lore-wise, background information about the way EVE is and why EVE is in the certain way it is.
Yeah.
And we're exploring this alongside CCP. I get they want to do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they've decided that nothing that they do needs public testing.
Well,
in order to achieve that, we are discovering this alongside that. In order to discover things, everything alongside that, we cannot test things before they hit Tranquility server unless CCP decide that there is one thing they want to take a look at. So, on Monday, they published a forum an article that stated that there was going to be a mass test on Singularity on Tuesday the 14th. What was being tested in this mass test?
Important things, maybe?
Think? Really important things. Potentially, new ships. Potentially new self-systems. Potentially an understanding of the way PI works in this new paradigm that CCP are going to introduce in less than a month. Would it be one of those things you would think, perhaps? No. No, it was not. What was, in fact, being tested on Tuesday, the 14th of May, in this mass test, was the new Skinner system for ships. The thing that works on structures needed a mass test for things on ships.
You know, the thing that you can also potentially just turn off on your client.
That was CCP's stated aim for this mass test was, hey, we want to talk about skins and we want to talk about their stability on the server. We don't want to talk about any of the SOV changes. We don't want to talk about the new ships. We don't want to talk about the new way that PI is going to impact SOV systems in nullsec, blah, blah, blah. No, we just want to test the skin system. Great. Really, really fucking good job, CCP. No.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't really as such like the Skinner system, you know, as Read My Main in chat has kind of said, but it was to test improvements on the skin system and how it handles how the system how the back end systems and stuff like that handle it and stuff like that. But like you know that's basically the foundational system for Skinner anyway. So like that is essentially what they're trying to, you know, test in terms of stability. But like,
as I'm reading My Main's comments in the chat, they are changing the back end that no one here knows about. Okay, fair enough. CCP are changing the back end of the skin system. That's a thing. That's fine. CCP want to test the back end of the skin system. That's a thing. That's fine. I understand that testing is actually good for the game.
This isn't the thing. This isn't the thing that like Dirk is really angry about.
This is my build-up.
It's a prioritization issue, is what Dirk is fucking aggravated by.
This is where I get to the point of going. Earlier this week, they also released further details about the Equinox patch, and we've been talking about Equinox for the last couple of weeks now, right? Equinox is the next big thing. It's coming July 11th. It's going to be great, according to CCP. It's going to bring new ships. It's going to bring different nullsec systems in terms of the way sovereignty works. And it's going to be fantastic. But
Equinox, you know, potato.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk about American pronunciation of words at this point. But so,
if anything, because it's coming from Iceland, we should really ask them, because it could have all sorts of random shit that doesn't seem to be obvious. You know,
there's going to be an
let's get into the healer or scythe thing. You know, fucking Jesus.
Jilla. It's pronounced Jilla.
Jilla. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Jilla.
All right, a shade, my buddy. I absolutely would complain if skins were not tested and then caused 500 milliseconds of lag. I absolutely would complain if it was not tested. However, I'm also going to complain about the fact that CCP think that 20 people in their dev crew, and I'm being very generous here when I say that 20 people touched the new design for the new combined TCU iHub that doesn't rely on soft systems, apparently doesn't rely on Entosis, but they haven't told us what it's going to rely on, so it might be Upwell timers. CCP are basically saying, hey, like, it's going to be great, it's going to be fine. They're not willing to let us test it. And they have 20, if I'm being very generous, they have 30 people in the CCP dev functions, in the CCP dev teams, who have touched this new, completely nullsec sovereignty changing system that, by the way, if we're working on average timelines, CCP should have started working on 4 years ago and released 2 years ago, because when we look at CCP introduced nullsec and nullsec sov late 2020, I'm saying 20. I mean 2003.
Yeah,
they then introduced Dominion sov in late 2009, 6 years. They then introduced Aegisov in late 2015, 6 years or so.
After that.
And every single one of these systems was being worked on for at least a year before they were released, obviously. Because that's how CCP does things. That's CCP's fucking timeline on these development things. They don't do it on a 3-month schedule. They do it on a year schedule. And we've been like fucking
I do recall that like
8, maybe 9 years since we last had a nullsec change. We're looking at we've been saying even since 2022 when they announced the faction warfare changes that nullsec has been screaming for a sovereignty update, for something that actually reflects the way we hold systems. CCP apparently heard us a little bit, probably started working on this new iHub thing that's an Upwell system that they don't want to let us test because, hey, our 300-person brain trust on day one of release, we will have more brains looking at solving the problem than CCP have had designing the problem. They don't want to let us test this idea. They don't want to let us have a little bit of fun with it, figure out how we're going to break it, tell them how we're going to break it so they can fix it, like we did with Rorquals, just as a point, right? Like, if CCP turns around and says, here's a system, and we want you to use it, and we look at that thing in testing on Singularity, where, hey, this is a test build, CCP can make changes if they need to, and we tell them how we're going to break it, and they go, oh yeah, it's fine, and then push it to live, and we break it exactly the same way that we told them that we would. And then they go, oh hey, there's a problem here. Why is this happening this way? The economy is fucked because we allowed Rorquals in.
So
CCP won't let us test it, and yet they will actually fucking try and tell us, that we never saw this coming.
Yeah. My only counter would be that it sounds like they're just using existing mechanics.
You know what's funny?
Still gonna have problems. Then.
It's well. So we had a bit of a discussion on that.
Are we talking about Intosis mechanics? Are we talking about SBUs?
So we haven't.
Are we talking about Upwell reinforcement timers? CCP haven't told us how these systems are going to be working.
We're probably going to get that this Wednesday, right? We're getting a dev blog every Wednesday. Last one was ships. The one before that was moon drills and.
Well, the one before that was structures, really. Anything like it wasn't just moon drills; it was structures in general. But the thing is, there were questions. They had a whole list of questions, and I'm fairly certain that a bunch of those questions being asked were questions of, is this going to tie into the sovereignty system? They didn't say. They conveniently dodged that question, and I'm fairly certain I asked those questions in chat as well, and I never got an answer for that either. So, one of the questions I had was, is this tying into the Aegis sovereignty system? And it just wasn't answered in any way, shape, or form. We kind of have this assumption because we saw reinforcement timers, in one little kind of image of it at some point in the sort of thing. But
technically, as
has
part
been
of the
said,
marketing materials, McLeod, this new combined TCU iHub has been billed as an Upwell structure.
Yeah, and Upwell
means time zone tanking.
Yeah,
Upwell and
I fucking hate time zone tanking. I'm just gonna say,
the Aegis of stuff is the command nodes and what have you. Upwell came after. Upwell is the way Fortizars work. Upwell is the way Astrohuses work. Upwell is the way a fucking Raitaru works. And so you hit it, and you hit it with DPS, but it has a damage cap. And it takes you a certain amount of time, and then it has a reinforcement timer that the other side can jiggle about to make sure that it's not in your good time zone. And it has none of the pause mechanic function of throw Stront in it, and based on the certain amount of Stront that you throw in it, it will come out at a certain time. So, hey, somebody is attacking you, but you have a certain amount of leeway in terms of figuring out when you can defend. It has none of the SBU functionality of, here is a thing that you can just throw DPS at no matter what, because it's DPS capped. And there is none of the offensive balance play.
There's so much interplay
historically has happened in Upwell. Upwell is actually probably hands down one of the worst mechanics for counterplay.
It's just boring. It's boring because it doesn't allow counterplay. It's like if you compare the Stronting Impost system versus the Upwell system, I mean, I guess it's a lot easier, right? It requires a lot less people to sort of manage certain things, but it's so much less enjoyable as a mechanic that allows play and interplay. Because
here's a lovely quote from Adam Jedi in Twitch chat. From a casual's perspective, it all looks like a jolly big ball lake.
Right, and I'm going to jump back in quick here.
Yes, welcome. Welcome to the thing.
Right, I want to jump back in because I had to run off because we just had religious ones at the door, if you know what I mean.
Welcome to the witnesses.
Yes, the knockers. Yes. So I had to drop out of the conversation there. What I was trying to say with the using existing mechanics, and I know, Mac, I did hear you say that you did try and ask in chat about what mechanics, but you didn't get a response. There was something put out.
They did say that
by a CSM member. By a
CSM member?
CSM member put something out that was supposedly from CCP as kind of a pass on some clarification. And it was basically, SOV isn't changing. Don't expect a SOV change, expect that later.
Okay, so
we're staying with Intosis SOV.
That's news to me.
But Intosis SOV is being mounted to the new structure.
The next EVE patch is being done by Bethesda. SOV. SOV never changes.
I mean, what that tells me, Bard Ghost.
What I did hear
on the basis of historical shit, and it's worth noting, and I'm gonna get back on the soapbox about testing.
Well, I know because
singularity.
We haven't even got to your main rant, which is kind of fucking hilarious.
Right, I've got a lot of rants this week.
But some of us are trying to stall it.
If I get back on the soapbox about the testing and singularity stuff, when they introduced Aegis SOV, they gave us a whole other test server separate from Singularity for 3 months.
Right. Whatever we call it, yes, we got 3 months.
I'm trying to speak to CCP executives here. But when FOSSISOV happened, it was an overnight change that we tested to the limits for 3 fucking months. And then they made the change, and everyone went to Providence on the live server to have some fun with the new systems as they implemented it. Because we do not trust CCP to actually present us with, on TQ, the same thing that they presented with us with on a test server, because they don't do it. You do not trust the numbers until they're live. It's a fact of EVE, but CCP don't get that.
I mean, wasn't so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but surely the whole Provi campaign at the start of Aegis SOV was purely on the basis of people wanting to get as much space in Provi as they could to be able to unanchor all of those stations.
No, that was later.
Wasn't that?
That was 4 years later.
Okay,
the station change was 2019. What happened in Provi? What happened in Provi at the start of Aegis SOV, FOSSISOV,
which was 2015,
was how do we teach everybody who was in the brain trust, and I mentioned the brain trust earlier. CCP have this 20 to 30 person brain trust, and what that means is they have 20 to 30 different people looking at the same problem, trying to figure out how it should be mapped out, and then the player base comes along with the 300-man brain trust on day one, and the 300-man brain trust on day one is all of the leadership of the main alliances. So you've got all of the leadership of Goonswarm, all of the leadership of Pandemic Horde and Northern Coalition at the time, Pandemic Legion at the time, Winter Coalition weren't even a thing, but they are included in the Brain Trust now. All of the leadership, all of the main people who need to know how the game works to protect their line members are the people who look at this on day one and they spend hours spreadsheeting it out based on the maths, based on the way it all is designed. We put more man hours into solving the problem on day one than CCP put man hours into developing the thing in the first place.
Well, but
CCP like won't let us test it.
Yeah,
and also
this is like. Oh, sorry, you go, Jared.
And also, this is where it starts to become a question of CCP aren't building us a sandbox in which we can play anymore. CCP are trying to build a curated experience that we break instead.
Yeah. Right.
But then their turnaround for fixing the things that we broke is normally pretty terrible.
They have no turnaround for fixing the things we break.
The other thing. Well, the other thing, Bart, is like if the whole idea of not giving people, this in a testing environment to test because they're concerned that we as players will be able to solve it that much quicker, if the idea behind that is you launch it day one with nobody getting eyes on it because that would be a fairer thing. It's not a fairer thing because it's not fair for a small nullsec group in the middle of nowhere, that only has like 5-6 guys, maybe 10 guys who can kind of really get to grips with like how this system works. How are they going to compete with like massive nullsec blocks that have like 300 plus people who can like butt heads about this stuff? It's not actually legitimately fair in that regard.
That's the way it works. And, coming back to the whole bit of CCP haven't said that, or CCP have suggested that the two systems are going to be interchangeable. Okay, great. The two systems are going to be interchangeable. You have just made a situation in which we are going to utilize whichever system is more economically viable until you force us one way or the other. When I say interchangeable, what I mean is like they're not going to kill all of the iHubs on deployment day.
Sorry, yes.
They are going to allow us to kind of make a decision about, okay, if we lose an iHub here, we might deploy another iHub. We might deploy instead one of these new Upwell things that nobody quite knows how they work yet, but they might be more cost effective. And so we are going to do that. We're going to make the most cost effective decisions that we can.
I can imagine you guys just earmarking like a constellation somewhere and just going, we're going to do a little test with this stuff there, and that's we're going to see how that works, how that plays out.
Absolutely. It's that bit of like we are no longer testing on Singularity, where we don't trust the numbers, but we trust the way the mechanics work because the code is fairly like predictable. We're going to end up instead going, okay, we're going to test this on production. And we're going to, have an out-of-the-way constellation that has no importance to anybody, and we're going to see how it works. Yeah. Then we're going to figure out how to break it. And then we're going to tell CCP
do that as a large group.
That this is how we're breaking it. And CCP will do absolutely nothing about the fact that we're breaking it.
The other thing as well, Dirk, is like, yeah, fair enough. You can kind of say that because this system isn't opt-in for like the next like 4 or 5 months, or whatever, right? Until the CCP actually do the circuit breaker switch thing, right? Because it's like an opt-in thing, that's kind of like its own little testing environment anyway. Except for the fact that there will be some groups who kind of go who will be super trusting about CCP's new stuff and just go like, oh, we're just going to use the new system, right? For all of our stuff. If one of the large blocks realizes that there is a fatal flaw or a big fucking issue with it, then all of those people who actually have legitimate fucking space that they've spent a lot of time and effort in putting together suddenly get like the rug pulled from under them because of some like terrible bit of coding or some error or some
and then somebody invades them and they don't see it coming because they didn't know about it.
It's horrible. It's a fucking horrible situation to be in, you know.
And I mentioned the Rorqual thing earlier, and I should probably give some context to that. When CCP first introduced the Rorqual boosting changes, and they wanted to make the Rorqual an on-grid ship that did things in an asteroid belt, primarily, rather than just one person having one sat in a pos shield for a day.
Yeah.
They made changes to the boosting system. They made changes to the Rorqual's statistics and bonuses.
Yeah, and bonuses, and they introduced new drone. Yeah.
They gave the Rorquals also the access to the excavator drone, which was a new thing. It was a really, really enhanced mining drone that the Rorqual could only the Rorqual could use. And CCP went, oh yeah, hey, we're trying to make sure that people want to use a Rorqual. A Rorqual with these new drones is going to be like a 7 billion ISK investment. It's going to be really, really difficult to get them. And they're going to be kind of like the pinnacle of what you could do with mining. They were, as it happens, the pinnacle of what you could do with mining.
Reminds me very much of the...
If you had one Rorqual, it was very much not difficult to get a second Rorqual. And then they did this, as Screaming PC in Twitch chat notes, they did this alongside skill point injection, where you had a new character, a Rorqual was like fucking 12.5 million SP to get a basic Rorqual running to be making money for you. So if you could mine out that amount of money, you then made another Rorqual. And
plus, I would like to add, Dirk. Dirk, just before you go on. Plus, I would like to add that they never actually gave us, as far as I understand it, they never gave any players access to the skill injectors and a skill extractor mechanic to test to see if there's any bugs in it. And lo and behold, there was a massive bug in it that meant that you could just inject a whole bunch of injectors all at once, and it wouldn't actually trigger that like reduction.
Any limitations? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't forget the other bug of ghost training.
Exactly.
Welcome to the history of CCP's bugs that would have been caught in testing.
Yeah, we're basically
decided to give us access to what they wanted to change.
We're basically going through the history of why this is a bad idea for CCP to just launch things live without giving us a testing environment, because it has very rarely, if ever, gone well.
It's the brain.
Thank you very much.
They do not see any issues.
Yeah, thank you very much, by the way, Froggy Storm, for the rating.
Froggy here with the raid. Froggy, we love you. Froggy did the header art for our Requiem for Patrick. Today.
Nice.
So I do want to shout out to Froggy while we're live on air, and he has kind of put his name there so I recognize it. But this is the thing, right? CCP do not think about the consequences, or they think about the consequences, but they don't figure out actually what people are going to use a thing for. They don't figure out the second order. They don't figure out the third order consequences of their changes. They go, this is going to be great, and it's going to... this change is going to make Y effect. And they go, Y effect is great. But they don't think about Z effect or,
they think of the best case. They think of the best case scenario, right? Like the best case scenario, the perfect case scenario of what they think players will use something for. For example, the best case scenario of, we just released a new freighter or we're going to be releasing a new freighter for everybody to use, right? And surely they're only going to be transferring, reagents and stuff like that. They wouldn't use other things. They wouldn't use this to transfer other things,
before he leads me down the garden path.
Mac was going to.
No, I wanted to say something as well. So it brings me back to a comment I made in the staff chat earlier, right? They're mentioning new combat add-ons. They don't want to give us details. They don't want us testing them prior to going live, right?
They'll taunt officers and bring officers and that kind of thing.
Well, all of that stuff, right? So what you're telling me is they'd rather have it go live with bugs and people don't have it figured on the first day than just let it go live
bug-free.
With people having tested it, bug-free, and people figuring it out on the first day. Because option 1, where people don't figure it on the first day, is buying them 14 days. And then it's figured. And unless they're going to change the site every 14 days...
There's also the case of
every 14 or so days. Doesn't matter. It's going to be figured after a while.
People will have it figured out in 5 at most. 5 at most, and that's across New Eden, right? We're not talking about
guys. You are missing the biggest problem with this. It's not that everyone will figure it out. It's that the big organizations have more brain power they can invest in this, so they will figure it out faster.
Well, yeah, they'll be the ones to figure it out.
And therefore, the idea of launching it as being a fair kind of thing is complete bullshit.
There you go.
If we could test it, and I kid you not, even if only the partners could test it, right? Even if only CCP's partners, and there's like 100, 150 of those guys, they do Twitch stuff, they do YouTube stuff, they do writing stuff. But like, if they could test it for a week, they would do a guide, a walkthrough on how to do this thing. And it would be accessible to literally anybody who could bring up youtube.com and type in the right search factors.
Well, yes, but also no.
Without that level of testing, and this is me just talking about, hey, even just letting the partners test. This isn't me saying, hey, CCP, you need to fix the bugs. This is just me saying, CCP, give the guys a little bit of lead time on it.
I get that, Doug, but like in the same sense that because Singularity is, somewhat of a testing / sort of marketing sort of tool, right? You can kind of, CCP could technically kind of say, Eve partners, you can go on and test certain things on the Singularity server with the things that are upcoming on with the new release, but in order to do so, you have to sign an NDA. That is something that a lot of games companies do when it comes to sort of marketing stuff, and they basically say you can put together stuff, you can put together like guides and all this kind of stuff and what have you, but you cannot release it to the public until this particular date. They have basically an embargo on anything, any information about it until this date, and that you see that in a lot of games companies.
There are 5 people in the channel here. 2 of us are under certain agreements with CCP. Soth's under an actual NDA. I'm just under the partner agreement, but the partner agreement does have certain limitations on what I can talk about and the specifics.
I'm under an NDA with Amazon Games, so I can't say shit about that. So,
this is the thing.
That's the thing, though. I can say shit about CCP. The only thing I can't
talk about anything that they don't tell us about directly, kind of thing.
Yes, the only thing I cannot talk about, according to my NDA, is the information I get through my special access with CCP.
Exactly.
And even with the partners kind of agreement, it's a very broad strokes agreement that basically means partners have access to expose their opinions, talk about their opinions. I'm here chatting shit about CCP all day long today because they are doing some stupid fucking shit.
Yeah, and we
violate my partner agreement. None of it violates INN's partner agreement because we tell CCP it about how it is, exactly how it is.
Yeah.
We have always, especially here at INN, and last weekend we did the 10-year thing of INN being CCP partners. Great, yeah. We've always told them how it is as we see it.
Yeah.
And if they tried to tell us, hey, we can't have an opinion on things, we would tell them, thank you, goodbye, we are no longer partners with you.
That's dangerous, Dirk. Like, you know,
no, it's not.
It's
exactly what they should want.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is, as a CCP developer has said to the community as well, like, you know, CCP got like former CCP dev CCP guard, like he's been on record saying multiple times that, you know, you it's not if the player base is charged up about it positively or negatively, that's a good thing, right? It's when they're apathetic, when they don't care about what's going on in the game, when they don't care about new things that you're trying to introduce. That's the thing you have to be really concerned about.
Yeah, it's the age-old.
So if we have we have criticisms,
is still good publicity.
Yeah. So when we have criticisms, you don't see that as like us wanting the game to be bad. Like it's us wanting the game to be good. And seeing that it might be going the wrong direction and trying, you know, as much as we can to try and right the ship, or at least tell the captain how, like, that the ship needs to be righted in some way, shape, or form.
This has always been the thing for CCP, right? Like they say they see the whole any publicity is good publicity thing, and they don't necessarily hear our direct feedback. They don't hear us saying, hey, this particular part of X function, you know, X function overall, it's fairly okay. But this particular part, we will break it in the first day, and you will not like how we break it. And they never change that X particular part. Because they don't hear it as specific feedback. They don't hear it as specific functional changes. They hear it as, oh yeah, it's mostly fine, but there's going to be a couple of issues, and fuck it, right? Like, why would CCP want to hear us say specific things and then fix specific things? Well, it would make a better game, but they don't need to, because we're here anyway, and our lovely little bit of very specific feedback is drowned in, well,
a sea of everything else.
Could you potentially not be just such a shit company overall?
Yeah. I mean, I want to jump back to what I was saying a minute ago, though, quick. Like, I'm not even looking at it from the perspective of guides. I'm looking at it as they want to pull some mystery box bullshit with what they're releasing, and are willing to risk it releasing with bugs in order to have 14 days at most of mystery box bullshit on how the mechanics work.
Yeah,
like 14 days. You're
14 days is very conservative.
Dirk, I'm adding even looking at smaller groups into that, right? Bigger groups, that will be a day or two.
What I was just talking about in terms of like the brain trust, the bigger groups will have it sorted very quickly. 14 days.
Smaller groups will take longer, but it will also filter between groups.
At the longest, 14 days is how long it takes it to disseminate to the random person looking at Reddit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean is, at 14 days, there will be public knowledge of how this works. And at that point, you've either lost your mystery box bullshit, or you have to have a dev constantly changing how it works every 14 days.
I mean, not going to lie, I had already even started like an infographic on the new soft changes and such things.
Yeah.
Like I'd already started that up. Like I was looking into sort of how to put it together, how to sort of, you know, how to you know, arrange it all and that shit, right? Like, and if I'm doing it, like I know for an absolute fact that there are many people in many alliances doing exactly the fucking same.
Yep. And you know what? I'm gonna add something, because I know someone out there will be either thinking it or wanting to say it. Oh, but if they make it a dynamic system, then they don't need to change it every 14 days, right? You know, a dynamic system that changes itself and adapts and learns and whatever. If it's a dynamic system that learns like that, then what's the harm in letting people test it ahead of time? Because surely it would change before.
And if it's a good system, it doesn't matter if it's known. If it's a good system, then it's a good system.
Understand what a dynamic system is?
No, but you know what I mean. It's either a system that is solvable, and you're going to have someone change it every so often to keep the mystery box bullshit you want, or it's unsolvable, and it doesn't matter if people had a day, a week, a month to pre-game it on a test server.
I think their definition of a dynamic system is a system that has an element, a dynamic element of some form in it. And that could be basically anything. Like Aegisov is a dynamic system in that regard because it has basically an RNG that says whether your vulnerability window shifts around a little bit.
Right. But if you know the vulnerability window shifts, then you know how much it shifts by, and you can plan for that.
So I am going to interject here and talk a little bit about. Go ahead, McLeod. Finish up.
I was just saying, if we're going on based on like what could be the definition from CCP as a dynamic system, that could very well be the sort of minimum viable product for that particular term is all I was saying, right? Yeah, exactly. But like,
so. I wanted to kind of interject to address something that Gyro44 said in Twitch chat, which is that Eve has the worst knowledge base of all MMOs. People don't know the mechanics behind parts of the game that were removed 10 years ago.
I don't know.
That sounds like a criticism of like, hey, we're all fucking Eve boomers at this point. We remember how things are. But
this
also,
is a lovely book.
CCP not CCP, the players also don't understand how some of the mechanics work even now today. I talked to McLeod last night about missile functionality. How do missiles work?
Yeah.
Because if you have a jackdaw that says it's got an 86.3 kilometer missile range. I'm sorry, your jackdaw does not have an 86.3 kilometer missile range.
But your jackdaw either has a 60 or a 90.
No. Your jackdaw either has an 86 or an 87 kilometer missile range, depending upon the roll of the dice, and the 0.3 is the percentage value of how often you will get a long shot versus a short shot. So you will have
one caveat to that, Dirk.
It gets more complicated than that because it depends on flight time and speed, and because we have
and then from there you have application radius, you have application velocity, and so as it turns out, very few people in playing EVE Online who have been around even for 10 years, right? Like McLeod, I was telling this to McLeod, and he was there going, "Oh, so that's how kind of missiles work." Sort of in some of it. It was a level of.
It was a case of there isn't an absolute stop. Like if you have two stationary ships firing at each other, and like and it's. As Dirk has said, and one has like a missile range of 86.3, and like the other ship is 87 kilometers away. Logic would say that ship is never going to be hit with a missile. Yet it does, because this is the sort of odd, weird shit about how the mechanics work.
It depends on when you click on the module to start on the server tick.
Yeah.
So many of these things are like very nuanced, and we were talking about this last night in terms of the tournament scene. Yeah, because the tournament scene is one of those situations. It's possibly the most exacting situation when it comes to actually understanding how certain mechanics work. Right? Like we don't give a shit about how a Titan Bridge works, how Sinos and jump ranges work, and whether or not at 5.01 you can jump, but 5.05 you can't. The CCP round exists.
Mm-hmm.
But in the tournament scene, missile range, fall off for autocannons, for example.
Sometimes the narrowest of margins means victory.
These make differences. And so drones. People get really, don't even talk about drones and tournaments.
The mechanics on drones are fucking absurd.
It turns out that the mechanics on drones are actually buggy as fuck as well.
Yes.
And drones have a mind of their own, unless every fucking 5 cycles of their gun, you reapply them to the same target. Like, it's a really weird thing, but players in these situations where the margins matter, and I think that was McLeod's point now, right? Like,
yes,
the margins, the slimmest of margins can make decisions sometimes. Players in that, they pay attention and they make sure that they do the testing. Hey, we're back to that T word, that testing word of they do the testing and they understand exactly how X affects Y affects Z. CCP kind of go, here is some code updates. X will affect Y in some way. It will affect Z in some way. We're okay with how it affects that, unless it's very broken, at which point we will rely on our own internal metrics to tell us that it's broken, and you telling us that it's broken will not matter.
Now, I want to jump in and say something really quick. Dirk, you have 12 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Tell us about freighters.
Thank you, Margos. Thank you.
Oh, fuck, good point.
I was eating peanuts. Let's talk about this was good. This was a good rant, by the way.
Let's talk about the ships. Let's talk about the Equinox ships. And when I say the Equinox ships, I mean the Squall, which is a T1 freighter, a T1 hauler. Sorry, it's equivalent to a Badger, sort of, but not really.
Badger, Epithol, something like that, around those.
Something like that. Then you have the Deluge, which is a blockade runner. You have the Torrent, which is a deep space transport. And you have the Avalanche, which is a new freighter. Now, all of these have various...
You can't see this, but I'm raising my hand. Okay?
You're raising your hand. What?
I have a question.
What's the question?
Okay. The question is, we already have a fuck ton of transports. Why do I need more?
Hey, because CCP are introducing a new PI solve function that nobody has been able to check or test yet.
Okay, but why can't you just tweak the existing ones? Like, you need some cargo spaces.
No tweaking.
No tweaking. New ships. No tweaking. Just new ships.
Hey! Look, these new ships. They're gonna get you going in a minute, Eric.
Because, you're gonna love them.
Hold it.
You'll love how balanced they are.
Two phrases that are always bad for Eric to utter. I'm confused. Help me understand.
I will help you understand, Eric.
Okay. Go, Dirk. Go.
So, these new ships, these we don't have PI ships already. We're struggling with PI ships, with freighters, with the way we move materials. So, we have a T1 hauler, a blockade runner, a DST, and a normal freighter. So 2 T1 ships, 2 T2 ships, and the T2 ships are of the normal functions. So one is very cloaky, and the other one is very tanky and very open, right? It's got a huge amount of storage space generally for a hauler.
Yeah.
Every single one of these.
No.
Right.
Sorry, guys.
Basically, DST and blockade runner. Variant.
Somehow, I apologize for that. Somehow my Spotify started rolling. If anybody heard that, apologize. Okay, go on.
I mean, I didn't hear it in Discord, but that's understandable.
So,
let me run through the high, medium, low slots that CCP have announced in their dev blog, and I will link the dev blog in Twitch chat.
You have 9 minutes.
But like to run through, the T1 hauler has a low slot of 5 mid slots, 3 high slots. The blockade runner has a 4-4-2 low, mid, high layout. The deep space transport has a 4-6-3, and the avalanche, the freighter, has a 6-3-3. And right, so I want to talk about T1 freighters for a start. Like, they all have low slots, mid slots, high slots, rigs, whatever. They can do whatever. That's one of those things that, hey, all right, yeah, it's a T1 freighter. It has basically nothing going for it apart from the fact that you can make tweaks. When it comes to DSTs, they're very tanky, which is why this one has so many low slots and mid slots. They want to make sure that they can fit a lot of things at the same time as having some tank to them. The blockade runner generally falls on its cloaky situation, which is why it only has 2 high slots, but it's got 4 low slots, 4 mid slots, there's some tank, and it can fit a cloak, and it can do those things. Then you have the freighter. The freighter has a 6-3-3 low slot, mid slot, high slot layout.
Which is interesting because it has high slots.
It is interesting because it has anything but low slots. Okay, no, it's interesting in that it has high slots because
there's a few freighters that have, or a few sort of moving ships that have
one freighter. It's the ore freighter. It's the bowhead. It was eluding me for a second. The bowhead has 3 mid slots available to it, but this new freighter has many more low slots. It has mid slots. It has high slots. Most freighters in EVE Online can only have low slots. They can't even have rigs. They can fit they have no fitting space either, just as a point, right? Like, they get fucking 30 CPU and basically no power grid, and they can fit expanded cargo holds, bulkheads to adjust their raw hull values, or energized adaptive plating to increase their tank. Right? Yeah. They get very, very limited things. So, like, you either run with a very expanded freighter and you have no tank, or you have tank and you have very limited amounts of what you can store. This new Avalanche freighter does not have that. It's got a whole hell of a lot going for it, including a 2 million M3 resource bay. Now,
that's fucking crazy big.
2 million M3 is a whole hell of a lot.
When you consider that regular freighters have...
For context, regular freighters with 3 faction expanded bulk holds get around 1.2 million. This thing, by default, has a 2 million resource hold bay.
Now tell everyone what can go in that bay.
Now, here's the thing, because you hear the words resource bay, and CCP have used these words, resource bay, and you hear them and you think, what can go in a resource bay? Oh, it's going to be resources, right?
Well, and also because it's meant to be coming with Equinox, it's probably the resources for the new stuff, right? Like,
so
that's what you think. That's what you think initially.
Whoa. So here's the thing. Before we even get into that, people in Twitch chat are telling me that the resource bay on the freighter is going to be 3 million M3, not 2, because they showed it without max skills. I was working. I was working on the numbers that CCP Swift gave me like 2 days ago, which was it's going to be 2 million, and I hadn't even thought about skills. So thank you for pointing that out. So okay,
CCP haven't either.
3 million M3 potentially as the maximum resource bay for this freighter.
Dirk, we got 4 minutes.
What can go in a resource bay? You would think it would be
agents.
PI. It would be the new reagents for the new PI solve that isn't PI solve, but it really sort of is. You would think it would
minerals?
be ore or moon goo or minerals.
Maybe some of the new structures.
You would not think that a resource bay would be able to fit things like a keep star in it. Surely.
I wouldn't expect it to. Let's put it that way.
Well,
if somebody says the words resource bay to you, you don't think a keep star is a resource.
Well, right? You would think that, but
it's an infrastructure.
As a block level FC, I can tell you, keep stars are resources for us.
We build so many that they are just disposable, right?
We burn
stars are ammo, guys.
We lived under POSs are ammo. POSs are just deployable, they are cheap, they are disposable. But when it comes to suggesting that they're a resource rather than infrastructure, right? Like, these are two different functions. A keep star is infrastructure. A keep star component may be resource. Minerals certainly are resources that people turn into other things before they become infrastructure. As it turns out, these new resource bays on these freighters will be able to hold freighters. They will be able to hold keep stars. They will be able to hold ansiblexes. This is fine in CCP's idea. You can put 2 keep stars in a 2 million M3 resource bay. You could put 3 of them in a 3 million M3 resource bay and still have room for the fuel, for the fittings, for everything else in this one fucking freighter.
So you'd be great
and
on the
that's great,
mail.
right? You are a massive target, right? Apart from the fact that your freighter also has multiple high slots and missile bonuses.
That only gets 400 DPS.
Only. You say this. Actually, like, the 400 DPS thing is CCP showed a picture of one of these freighters.
That's just using regular
with
missiles.
400 DPS. You know, regular missiles. It's only got, 350,000 EHP.
Well,
it's only got 350,000 EHP. Hey,
I don't want to stop you, Dirk, but we have 45 seconds left to plug the meta show. So, Mac, go.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like we're a little bit loose.
We're just gonna make Eric late.
We don't have to run off and watch. And watch
we're gonna make Eric late.
We don't have to watch a hilarious kind of like pseudo political kind of pageantry kind of thing that was Eurovision.
Stop waffling.
So chill.
Eric has to go.
Oh
he
shit!
Said he has to go on time. So back the meta show. Bye, guys.
We're making Eric late.
Nope. Watch the meta show. Yes, I have a family. Yes. Well, not a family, but a date with the wife.
Oh,
it's early.
He's got a date, guys.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so take a look at the numbers on the freighters. Take a look at all of the shit and go, hey, CCP, this is all bullshit because, hey, a random confessor can no longer stop a freighter that has 3 keep stars in it because, hey, the freighter will kill the fucking confessor.
Dirk, hot take. That's a good thing.
That might not be a good thing.
No.
Yeah.
But it is
hot
take.
High sec ganking doesn't exist anymore. It's not a good thing.
Anyway. New ships and stuff like that. Brisk and Dave will be talking about it with Joe Painter on Meta Show, which is literally in an hour's time. Remember that there's going to be a Sino Vigil in half an hour's time as well in MDQ.
Absolutely.
So check that out. And yes, thank you very much for checking out the show.
See you all later.
Thank you, everyone, and we are out of here.
Hey!
Yay!